The Vanishing. The last photograph of Emily Harper was taken on a carousel, her laughter frozen in time. Hours later, she was gone, and for 15 years no one could explain how a girl could vanish in the middle of a crowded fairground. It was June 21st, 2007. The Harper family, Mark, his wife Julia, and their 11-year-old daughter Emily, spent the day at the Cedarwood County Fair in Ohio. It was the kind of small-town fair where the smell of fried dough mixed with sawdust and the sound of carnival games echoed across the summer air. Emily, with a pink balloon tied to her wrist, had been begging to ride the Ferris wheel. But when the sun began to dip and the crowds thickened, something happened. News clipping 2007. Cedarwood Gazette, June 22, 2007. Local girl missing at Cedarwood County Fair. 11-year-old Emily Harper was last seen near the carousel at approximately 8:15 p.m. Witnesses report seeing her walking alone toward the livestock barns. A search party was formed immediately. Authorities are asking anyone with information to come forward. Mark Harper described those last moments in an interview a year later. Mark, father, I remember looking down for maybe 20 seconds, just long enough to pay for a bag of kettle corn, and when I looked up, Emily was gone. I thought she'd just wandered a few steps ahead, but she wasn't anywhere. You'd think you'll find them right around the corner. You think it's impossible that your kid could just disappear in the middle of a fairground full of people, but she did. The search that night was frantic. Flashlights cutting through hay bales, police dogs barking, the Ferris wheel lights spinning above like a cruel mockery of the chaos below. But there was no trace of Emily. Not a shoe, not a ribbon, not a sound. Only silence. The Harpers' world collapsed. Posters of Emily's face went up on lampposts. Her smile, innocent and wide, stared back at neighbors in grocery stores and diners. Leads came and went. A carnival worker seen smoking near the barns. A woman who thought she saw Emily by the restrooms. A truck that left the fairgrounds earlier than expected. But none of it led anywhere. By winter, Cedarwood had gone quiet. The fairground had long been dismantled. But Emily's absence hung in the air like smoke that refused to clear. Her mother, Julia, wrote in her private journal. Journal entry, November 2007. I still set Emily's place at the table. Mark tells me I have to stop, but how can I? What if she comes home and thinks we forgot her? I keep hearing her laugh in the hall. Sometimes I think I see her at the corner of my eye. But when I turn, it's only shadows. Then, after 15 years of silence, the impossible happened. One night, in a smoky bar on the outskirts of Chicago, a girl with Emily Harper's eyes stepped onto a stage and sang. The Reappearance. It was October 2022. At a dimly lit music venue called the Glass Lantern, a rising singer-songwriter performed under the name of Eden Vale. She had a voice that could cut through bone, haunting, fragile, yet powerful, the kind of voice that carried grief and history in every note. The crowd was small that night, but among them was a Cedarwood native visiting Chicago for work. His name was Daniel Price, a former classmate of Emily's. Daniel froze when he saw her. The curve of her smile, the nervous way she tucked her hair behind her ear, he swore it was her. When Eden Vale sang, the lyrics shook him. Song lyric partial, paraphrased, not direct. I walked through the fairground lights. Nobody saw me go. A voice pulled me into the night, where the lost children roam. Daniel stumbled outside after the performance, hands shaking, and called Emily's parents. I hadn't seen her since 5th grade, but when I saw her, I knew. The way she looked around the room like she'd been somewhere else for years.
I thought I was going crazy, but then she started singing about the fair, about disappearing, and I thought, Jesus Christ, that's Emily Harper. Within days, word spread. Missing Ohio girl resurfaces as Chicago singer, became a headline across local news. News clipping 2022. Chicago Tribune, October 19, 2022. Eden Vale, a 26-year-old performer, may in fact be Emily Harper, who vanished from an Ohio fair in 2007 at the age of 11 years old. Her parents, Mark and Julia Harper, are traveling to Chicago for DNA testing. When Mark and Julia finally saw her backstage, the air was thick with disbelief. Julia clutched her chest, whispering her daughter's name. Emily. Eden froze. Her eyes brimmed with tears, but instead of running into their arms, she said only, I don't know you. The DNA test confirmed it. Eden Vale was Emily Harper. But the mystery deepened. Where had she been for 15 years? Why had she never come home? And why, when her mother reached out, did Emily recoil? Journal entry, Julia Harper, 2022. She looks like my daughter. She has Emily's eyes, Emily's hands, but her voice, it's heavier, darker. When I touched her arm, she flinched. What happened to her? Who kept her? And why won't she tell us? Police reopened the cold case. Detectives combed through Emily's songs, her journals, her stage drawings. She wrote of locked rooms, of voices in the dark, of a man with a coin in his teeth. Every lyric felt like a clue. But Emily refused interviews. To every question she shook her head. The songs say enough. And yet the public was enthralled. Her shows sold out. Fans treated her music like prophecy. But her parents? They were trapped in limbo. Grateful she was alive, but horrified by the silence between them. Then, one night after a show, a fan slipped a note onto the stage. Emily unfolded it. Her face went pale, and in a trembling voice she whispered to herself, "He's still out there." The truth. The note read, "I still have the coin. Do you remember me?" It was unsigned, but Emily collapsed backstage. Witnesses described her sobbing, begging for the doors to be locked. Detectives tracked the handwriting to a man named Caleb Rourke, a former carnival worker. Rourke had been at the Cedarwood Fair in 2007. He'd left town abruptly. In 2012, he'd been arrested for assault in another state. He carried a silver coin with a jagged bite mark through it. When confronted, Rourke laughed. "Kids wander. Some don't come back. Some sing about it later. You think she remembers what really happened? She remembers what I let her remember." Her parents begged her to testify, but Emily shook her head. Instead, she handed detectives a journal. Inside were years of entries, written in cramped, desperate handwriting. Excerpt from Emily's journal, 2010. "The cabin smells like smoke and gasoline. He keeps the coin in his mouth when he sleeps. He tells me if I run, the woods will swallow me. I believe him. The woods are louder than my heartbeat, but sometimes at night I sing, quietly, so I don't forget my own name." The evidence was damning, but Emily never appeared in court. Instead, on the eve of the trial, she disappeared again, walking off stage in the middle of a performance, vanishing into the night. Final interview, Julia Harper, 2023. "They told me she was found, but maybe she was never really ours again. Maybe she belonged to the silence, to the woods, to that missing piece of time we'll never understand." To this day, Emily Harper, Eden Vale, remains missing once more. Her music, however, continues to surface online. New songs appear on obscure forums, each one more haunting than the last. And skeptics, once quick to dismiss her disappearance, now shiver at her evidence. Because the last lyric she released was simple. Song lyric, paraphrased. You'll know me by the coin, and when the lights go out, I'll be gone again. Closing narration, fear archive tone. The story of Emily Harper forces us to ask, when the missing return, do they ever truly come back? Or do they remain part of the darkness that first claimed them?